It is time we go to the Horsham District Football League report. The Jeparit Rainbow Storm and the legend, Big Peter Weir, joins me. How are you, Weary?
Yeah, pretty well, Wayne. And sitting here hoping for rain. It's starting to get a bit dry. It's good weather for playing footy, but not so good for the farmers around the place.
Tell you what, you'll be pretty excited about going over to the silo town with the painted silo at Conniva. I don't think the Jeparit Rainbow boys have ever played a game over there.
No, it's our first game since Conniva's been in the league, so it'll be great. I think we played them in a practice match before their district league time, so we have had a bit of a look at the oval flow, man, but it'll be our first official game at Conniva.
All right, let's get to last week's results. Big surprises here. Pimpernio 11-10 to Narragansett Quantong 10-11. What's happening there with Clint Burdett? He's got him going.
Yeah, that's a great win. They would have been wrapped there at Pimpernio to get that victory in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It'd be probably their best win, flow, man, so plenty to celebrate. And they've had really good juniors come through for probably the last 3 or 4 years, so maybe we're starting to see a few of those boys push up and have a real impact in the senior grade.
Yeah. What about this? Rapania missing Jack Musgrove. They beat Edenhope Apsley 26-14 to the Saints. 2 goals won at Edenhope.
Yeah, I couldn't believe this. I think I actually tipped Edenhope to win this in an upset, flow, man. So only about 30 goals wrong there. But, Braden Ison, their coach, obviously didn't miss Musgrove too much and kicked 10 goals himself.
And this is a hard-fought win for the Keys. 7-11-53 to Laharam, 3-3-21. It looks more like a juniors score.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, in that game, flow, man, there was a nasty injury to Zai Adams. I think that happened in the third quarter, which would, as you noticed, halted the scoring and halted the game at that point. But, hopefully Zai has a quick recovery and back on the footy field soon. And
Harrow Balmoral way too good for the Cougars. 24-13 to 2 goals too. Similar in a way to the Rupp win over Edenhope Apsley, but this time it was at Harrow. That's a poor performance for the Cougars, and you face them this week, so you won't want to say that.
Yeah, I think the Cougars would have gone down there with a bit of optimism that they might challenge Harrow, but went home with a 20-goal defeat, as seems to happen to a lot of clubs who venture down that part of the woods.
And Swifts 21-14 over Natimak 11-13. If I say this, the Swifts are just quietly going about it at the moment.
Yeah, they always do that at this time of the year, flow, man. Every time you check the results, they just keep winning, and that gives them a chance to play in finals most years. And Sean Grigg, the ex-Richmond player, chimed in with 7 goals, flow, man, so we would have had plenty to talk about at his sportsman night that Saturday.
Oh, good stuff. What about this performance, Jeparit Rainbow Storm 19-23, 137, defeat Taylors Lake 3-5-23. She was all over in the first quarter, but didn't kick straight, the boys.
No, we had a great first quarter and really controlled the game, but to Taylor's Lake credit, in the second quarter they actually outscored us, and then after that it was a bit more of a fight, so it was a 100-point win, but didn't really feel like that out on the ground as Taylor's Lake challenged us for most of the day.
And Will Hutchison, very good. Tom Clark, Ash Clugston, Daniel Batson, Nicholas Yarran and Jacob Cox in the better players. Jarvan Anderson, 4, and Zachary Pitch with 4. Ash Clugston booted 3 along with Will Hutchison's 3. A pretty good effort by the Storm. But the 2s is where we want to go. And these two sides were almost having a forfeit with each other, and both of them decided to get enough players to have a game, and it was a draw at the end.
Yeah, it's amazing how things work out, Flo, man, but I'm pretty sure if you had told both teams that after 90 minutes they would have come out a draw, I think they would have been quite happy to shake hands at the start of the game and call it off. But it was a great battle, and it was quite an exciting finish with the Taylors Lake player kicking a goal right on the siren to clench a draw. And a new recruit, Jono, who's friends with some of the recruits from Darwin, Flow, man, is becoming a bit of a cult figure in the reserves for us, and he chimed in with 7 goals and did his best to get us over the line.
Yeah, Jonathan Dye, he's his name, and he supported Aidan Gilligan with 3, 7 and 3. You kick 10, they kick just score, those two blokes.
Yeah, the boys, the juniors were following him from end to end, Flow, man. It was like a grand final there when he was shooting a goal in the last quarter, so it did create a great bit of excitement for the reserves game.
Well, there was no game for the 17s, which was a bit disappointing for those lads, but there was a game in the kids, and this was interesting because here it is in round 5 action. Jeparit Rainbow 5-9-39, Taylors Lake 4-5-29, and the Storm boys are on a roll.
Yeah, a bit like the seniors, probably a few too many points, and they could have had a bit bigger win, but they're on a great bit of momentum at the moment, and their leaders are playing really well. And Lenny and Fletcher Keller and Ryder Gould are all having a great impact in the competition this year.
They certainly are, with 3 to Fletcher Keller this week, and Maxi Spokes and Lenny Ware booted 1. Ware was very good along with Ryder Gould. As you mentioned, Kane Batson got his name there too. Maxi Spokes and Flynn Hudson. Good to see those kids getting their name in the Better Players. Well, you head towards the beautiful town of Caniva, but we're going to have a look at the seniors action in the other game. Swifts play Pimpanayo. This has almost got match of the round written on it.
Yeah, well, Pimp knocked off Narrabri Quantong, and just a few weeks back, Narrabri Quantong were way too good for Stall. So form lines show that this will be a great contest. And with history, you've got to probably go Stall at home, but yeah, expect a tight battle there.
And I reckon the Harrow Balmoral boys will be too good for Laharam at Cameron Oval.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier this weekend for the Harlem lads, and yeah, Harrow will be way too good and keep that great start to the season rolling along.
Now, these two sides have had some ripping duels, the wheat paddockers and barley paddockers from Rapania versus the Kalki boys. It's going to be a very hard ask for the Kalki lads.
Yeah, rematch of last year's grand final, Flowman, but I don't think it'll take to the last couple of minutes for Rapaniup to get over the line in this one, and I think they'll be too good all day and run away with another good win.
Narrabri Quantong should improve enough from last week to beat Edenhope Apsley based on the Saints' form, and I noticed that Quantong's been named as the venue for the grand final this year.
Yeah, I think it's a great facility there for netball and football side of things. I mean, obviously the senior players from the Narrabri Quantong team will be hoping they're in the grand final and change that venue. But yeah, at this stage it's going to be there, and they'll put on a great grand final for the league. And I think in this one, both teams are coming off pretty ordinary weeks last week, so they'll look to bounce back, but it'll be probably the Bombers at home that'll get the win.
And I think Natty Mark should be able to get to the Dock Lake. If Taylor's Lake still with all their recruits injured, I think Natty Mark can get a win here.
Yeah, Taylor's Lake, just with those 3 or 4 recruits in, could improve out of sight, Flowman, but until we see that, we'll have to pick the Natty Muck boys. OK, let's go to Japarra Rainbow, your trip over to the Caniva Lior Cougars at Caniva, your first entrance against them there, but I think you've got the cattle on the park to beat them. Yeah, it should be a great contest. I think there's probably 10 teams, Flowman, that can probably play finals this year. And at the moment, we're sitting second on the ladder, and we've just got a little bit of a buffer. And it's really important if we want to stay ahead of that pack to win games like this. And we know Caniva will take it up to us. And I guess on their home deck, we're going to have to really stop those momentum charges, which they will get. But I think if we can get the game on our terms, we'll be too good and have our first win at Caniva.
And have you got your strongest team in this week? I think it looks like you've probably got all your players back.
Yeah, there's a couple of question marks. Tommy Long's out at the moment as well, and Tom Clark, he did strain his hamstring a little bit last week, and he's been a great recruit, Flowman. And a few of these boys have rugby league experience too, and you can really see the way they attack the ball. They're so strong, and their tackling's hard and fair, and they've been great additions, but he may be out. But apart from that, yeah, we'll go there at full strength. OK, the twos. It's the bottom two sides playing each other after a draw last week. Your fellas have got their chance for the first win of the season against the Cougars, but they will feel the same. Yeah, I think with cropping starting to wrap up probably in both areas, the two teams will start to look a little bit stronger. But, I think Caniva might be still a little bit too good for our boys. All right, he's called it already. The 17s is going to be a really interesting match here because both sides are coming along quite well at this age group. Your blokes are in 8th place on the table. They're in 7th place. Everything on the line for both sides. If you want to be a top 6 side, this is the game you've got to win. Yeah, very similar placings on the ladder, and I think our boys will go into the game nice and fresh after not having that game against Taylor's Lake last weekend, and that'll be enough to get them over the line. Well, if ever you're under 14 boys have thought that they're going to be a show this year, they get to find that out at Cougar territory because the Caniva Lior Cougars are top of the table. Yeah, it'll be a great contest. The under-14s will find out where they're at. Under-14s have been a strong point of the Caniva club the last few years, and they'll have a great under-14s team. But yeah, it's a great learning curve for our boys to go up against the top side and see what they've got. And if they play with the enthusiasm and the endeavour they have at the start of the season, that'll hold them in good stead, and we'll just have to wait to see on the result. Should be a beauty. I know that there's no senior netball. That must be a concern that the Cougars haven't got a senior netball side this year. Yeah, it's a bit surprising. I thought traditionally they had quite a good netball club, netball outfit, Flayman, so it's disappointing for them that they don't have the A grade in, but it'll give our girls a chance to have a week off and, get those points through the forfeit to add to last week's good win, and they'll be going to next week 4 wins and 2 losses.
Yeah, good stuff from the girls from the Storm, and good stuff from the Big Weary, who is just about wrapping up the cropping program. Looking forward to catching up with the results and catching up with you next week, Peter.
No worries, Wayne.